Here's the lineup for the Dutch in this one. Eugene Kingsale's out in center field. 21-year-old Charlene Scope at shortstop. Randall Simon is DHing. Yurendel DeCaster is at third base. Vince Roy gets the start at first base. One of the heroes last night, Sidney DeYoung, he opened that 11th with a double. Kurt Smith had a big ground ball that pushed a runner up to third. Danny Rombley's in right field, and Michael Dersma gets the start at second base.
Well, Sidney DeYoung maximized his opportunities. That was his only at bat in the Classic. He got a double, scored the tying run, and he gives Kenley Jansen a little rest because he has had 3 grueling games behind the plate on this hot, hard surface. And so he gets the night off tonight, and DeYoung gets the start behind the plate.
It's a comfortable night here in San Juan, ready to go. Jonathan Sanchez of the San Francisco Giants delivers ball 1 high.
27-year-old lefty, a native of Mayaguez. That's what he's done in 3 seasons. You saw the strikeout total. A power pitcher's had a little difficulty with control. You saw a little of him last year.
Did with the Giants last year. It was his first full season as a starter for the Giants. And a strike at the knees. Eric Cooper, the home plate umpire. Kingsale, a switch hitter. And he's got 4 hits in the Classic. Sanchez will throw that slider along with a changeup. He is Puerto Rican. However, he played college baseball in the United States at a NAIA. That's a small college in Ohio, Ohio Dominican University. Puerto Rico's defense tonight. A little different look behind the plate.
Well, good options for Jose Oquendo. He's got 3 great catchers he can go to. Tonight, Pudge will be the DH, and Giovanni Soto, last year's National League Rookie of the Year, gets the start.
Kingsale gets sawed off, and it's Soto who makes the catch. 1 out. Soto was the National League starter as well in the All-Star game. The 2 games that you're going to see tonight are kind of mirror images in terms of what's at stake. First with this game, the winner of this game, Delmonico's Netherlands team, taking on Puerto Rico and Jose Oquendo. The winner of that game will be the #1 seed in Miami and face the loser of the game tonight between the U.S. and Venezuela. Scope.
Well, no matter what happens, the Netherlands is going to be, I'd say, the least respected team, not in a bad way, but least experienced team professionally. Even if they win tonight, they would not be favored to win any of those games against the other 3 teams, but they've been proving everybody wrong every time they take the field.
I was just about to say, that's got a familiar ring to it.
Oh, yeah. Well, nobody more surprised than me. I mean, when you look at the experience and the stars the Dominican team had and Puerto Rico, you say it just doesn't match up, but the guys keep coming up with big plays and big pitches.
Scope lines that one into the seats. Scope outstanding defensively. He struggled offensively. He's 0 for 11.
And that swing right there, an example of how overmatched a lot of these young hitters are. I mean, late on the fastball, fouled it over the first base dugout. They're very seldom pull the ball or drive the ball.
But they sure don't beat themselves. And the same cannot be said of the Dominican Republic. The big error by Hanley Ramirez in game 1, that opened the door. And then Ibar's miscue last night in the 11th. Two down.
Elevates the fastball. Toughest pitch to catch up with. Last night, Ubaldo Jimenez from the Dominican team struck out 10 in the first 4 innings. 10 out of 12. And you're seeing that kind of a start again tonight from Sanchez, overpowering this lineup.
Randall Simon now. You saw him stirring it up in the dugout before the first pitch. Simon is the emotional leader of this ball club, and he was overcome with emotions after last night's game. In the celebration on the field, tears were shed. It was really quite a sight to see.
You saw Randall look out at the pitcher at Sanchez and kind of squint a little bit. And with his 5:30, 5:40 start for about a half hour, it's going to be very difficult for the hitters. You can see the light area right in front of the pitcher's mound. Ball goes from the dark area on the mound then into the light, and it's difficult to pick up.
Smoked into center field. Randall Simon sends that fastball right back up the box. A one-out single, and Yurendo DeCaster coming up.
About bell tie. And Randall takes it up the middle. Last night when they scored a run in the 11th, it was the first inning in this classic. They actually got 2 base hits to the outfield in 1 inning. I mean, it's only their 14th hit in 3 games and 2/3 of an inning.
It was DeCaster, of course, last night after Simon was walked intentionally, who hit that ball down the first base line off of Ibar's glove and then beat the throw to first. That allowed Kinsale to score the winning run. DeCaster, when this is all done, will rejoin the Detroit Tigers spring training. Soto's on his way out to the mound to talk to Jonathan Sanchez, who becomes a little more important for the San Francisco Giants as Jose Oquendo walks in. And Sanchez, part of that rotation, which added a left-hander, a very tall left-hander in the offseason in Randy Johnson. That also includes Barry Zito, Tim Lincecum, and Matt Cain. And Noah Lowry, another guy, another lefty, is injured. That ball's hit pretty well to left center field. Feliciano going back in the gap, not gonna get it, and it's gonna go to the wall. Here we go again. Simon around third, coming to the plate. He is out. Soto with the tag. Puerto Rico with a great relay play. Beltran started it.
Well, Randall Simon has a lot of passion. He's got a lot of power, but he doesn't have a lot of speed. And Puerto Rico executes the relay play and throws him out to end the inning.
In San Juan, Puerto Rico's lineup looks this way. Jesus Feliciano in left, Ramon Vasquez at third, Carlos Beltran in center, Carlos Delgado hitting cleanup, Alex Rios in right, Ivan Rodriguez the DH, Giovanni Soto the catcher, Felipe Lopez and Mike Aviles round out Jose Oquendo's 9 for this final game in Pool D as Feliciano leads it off.
Yeah, Pudge has been sort of the one-man show and most of the attention, drawing most of the attention, but you saw there Delgado 4 for 5 has also had a good classic.
Pim Walsma has yet to throw a strike.
That's what he did last year in the Netherlands, and he was a closer. So it's unusual for him to be starting more than a strikeout an inning. Most promising young pitcher over in the Netherlands in their professional league, just 23 years old.
It's one of the things when you get to this game and you're 2-1, Bert Blyleven, the pitching coach of the Netherlands, has to find a 4th starter. Jonathan Sanchez is the 3rd starter because this is just the 3rd game for Puerto Rico. Defensively, a little different look in the outfield.
Well, because of the 3 grueling games and the hot conditions, the turf, hard turf, Rod Delmonico will give a couple of his outfielders the night off. Danny Rombley will get the start in right, and Kurt Smith over in left.
Rombley out there. This is Vasquez. Gets the start at third, and Walsma is all over the place.
Yeah, he's that's got to be a little tension right there.
Headed towards third. Here's the throw. Just got there. Good hustle by Feliciano, but he was almost thrown out. And here comes Delmonico to find out what's wrong with Walsma.
Well, I think it's a situation of a 23-year-old, his first appearance. He's looking at some big league hitters, and you can kind of see the tension showing. Nice alert base running by Feliciano. Just gets in ahead of the tag. A lot of foul territory here, and once the ball got by the catcher, Sidney DeYoung, Feliciano took advantage of that. That's one thing when we look at Walsma and the walk and now falling behind again. The Dutch pitchers have had to pitch out of jam after jam. They've allowed a ton of base runners. The Dutch master, Bert Blyleven, looking on.
One 1-0 to Ramon Vasquez.
Now both these teams know they're going to Miami, and the incentive for the Dutch team, the pride, but also there's a little payoff in these games individually. These guys don't make a lot of money over in their country in Europe, so the bonus money they get, very important to the Netherlands. We'll get into the numbers for that in a little while.
And of course the winner of this game will be a 1 seed, and the winner of this game will face the loser of tonight's game between Canada and the U.S. Now you've got a youngster out there who is obviously in trouble.
Yeah,
but you don't really have a lot of arms down in the pen.
Well, they may have to. You may have to make a change right away from a psychological standpoint. I go back, for those of you that follow the major leagues in the United States, and the Cardinals started the young lefty several years ago who is becoming an outstanding outfielder, Rick Ankiel, and he started in a pressure situation through 5 wild pitches. Sometimes this kind of atmosphere, a young pitcher used to coming in late in the game, not comfortable right now.
And you got a guy at the plate who can hit it a mile, and Beltran, and he does. Deep right field. Only question, fair or foul? And it's foul. You know, Beltran came to the plate thinking just that. He's just going to try to get one over. Oh, 0-1. Sharp ground ball. Out there, and the turn not in time. Roy at first made a nice play to catch the ball, but the feed wasn't clean at second. And Puerto Rico is on the board.
Well, they could have kept the runner at third. The conventional play is take the double play and give up the run. The throw is off target, and as a result, Scope can't get enough on it. But the ball was hit so hard, Feliciano had to wait. They actually could have frozen him at third base and maybe still gotten an out.
So Beltran remains, and here's Delgado. The Netherlands pitched very carefully to Delgado on Monday. They walked him twice, they hit him once, and he had a double. If the Mets can get the second half Delgado from last year, this year, for the entire season, then they'll be quite happy.
Shifting way around to the right field side, respecting his power and his ability to pull the ball. Ended up what Rich was referring to, 38 home runs, but the majority of those in the second half last year.
He was one of a handful of Mets that seemed to get kick-started once the Mets made a managerial change from Willie Randolph to Jerry Manuel. Pim Walsma. He's out of Curacao. Lower Columbia Community College. So he played junior college in the States, and he was on the Beijing Olympic team for the Netherlands.
Not good. 11 out of the strike zone out of 15.
Beltran's running, got a big jump, and it's fouled at the plate.
And again, for those of you who have not watched this entire classic, in the Netherlands with 2 wins in 3 games and an outstanding earned run average, to get by with the amount of base on balls and base runners that they have given up is really incredible. That bad break they got in the first inning is one of the few things that went against them. They just had the wrong guy on first base, and Randall Simon. They got 2 hits to the outfield for only the 2nd time in the classic in the same inning. Sidney DeYoung out to the mound right now to have some words with Walsma.
I think you're right. If there's any other Netherlands player on first other than Randall Simon, he scores. But no one's complaining from the Netherlands, and a lot of people are excited about this ball club. Delgado calls timeout. As you had mentioned, in Amsterdam and all around Holland, people are really starting to take notice, starting to follow this team. And that coverage will increase in Miami.
Biggest television station in the Netherlands will go to Miami. This team becoming a national story.
Three-two, way outside.
Well, let's look inside some numbers again with another base on balls to see how phenomenal it is that Rod Delmonico's team has won 2 out of 3 games and only allowed 5 earned runs. 28 innings now into the 29th. 48 base runners allowed, 21 walks in 3 games, and yet they've only given up 5 earned runs. When you give up that many base runners, that's almost 2 per inning. To get out of that many jams, it just doesn't happen very often. That's how miraculous this run by the Netherlands team has been.
If Walsma doesn't start throwing strikes, there'll be no miracle tonight. Rios 0 for 3 against the Netherlands on Monday. Walsma is not throwing hard, and he's not throwing strikes.
Bad combination.
Rios out in front, and it's 2-1.
Most of the Dutch pitchers we've seen have had nice fluid mechanics. Walsma a little herky-jerky. You see the ball come out of the glove a little bit early, and he lets it go a little, almost let the ball go behind him, which most of the time will be high. Has some life on the fastball. You see the swing there, and he's a little late on it. Sometimes just an out, a double play, something in that first inning. It's always the most difficult inning for a pitcher, and in this situation, a youngster in this kind of situation, getting the feel of the mound, the pressure of the game.
And he's watched the 3 games, watched all the other guys come out of the bullpen, the other starters have success. Walk the tightrope that you talked about.
It's Leon Boyd, their closer. He got a save in their first win on Saturday, and even though he gave up a run last night, picked up the win. Tom Stoifbergen on the left ear screen. Great job last night as a starter, and a guy you see a lot of next to him.
Rick Vandenhurst. Of course, Sidney Ponson is the #1 starter. High pop-up, Rombley and Roy, and neither will get there. And before the ball game, there were rumblings that if there was an injury, the Netherlands might be able to add an arm when they get to Miami. Jair Jurgens of the Atlanta Braves apparently has become available.
Boy, if they could add him in round 2, what a boost that would be. They already are going to replace one of their infielders we've seen in the first few games. They're Hanley Stasha with a leg injury. They will bring in another infielder to replace him.
Full count. Beltran and Delgado are on the move. And it's still 3-2. Rios of the Toronto Blue Jays. His home field will be in action tonight. Venezuela taking on USA. Ted Lilly gets the start for the United States. Victor Zambrano is starter number 4 for Venezuela. This will be pitch number 26 when Dersma eventually gets it to the plate.
The most indecision that we've seen of any of the Dutch pitchers, even though they're young and inexperienced, they have really taken the mound with confidence and attacked the strike zone until tonight.
Runners go. That's inside. 4th walk by Walsma.
Well, it could get ugly early in a big decision for Rod Delmonico. Not just the game, but the psyche of Pim Walsma. I'm sure he'd like to see him at least get out of an inning and maybe leave on a positive note rather than have to take him out here with only getting one out and issuing all these base on balls. And now he's got to face their most productive hitter.
Looks like the bullpen is stirring.
David Bergman, who was in game 1 and threw a lot of strikes, he'll begin to loosen up. There's what Pudge has done, the bases loaded, in his major league career.
6 career grand slams. Wow. And he goes after.
Yeah, he's shaking his head in the dark. Well, I can't blame Pudge. He's looking fastball and he's swinging fastball. He said bases loaded, first pitch, he's going to lay it in there, and he got an off-speed pitch out of the strike zone.
Still only 1 out. When you're all over the place, it's hard to get a borderline strike like that.
More strikes you throw, the more you usually get the borderline calls. Yeah, this is getting ugly early, and as I look around at the field, players love to play behind guys that work fast and throw strikes. These guys have had 3 games in hot conditions, and you look around at the outfielders and the infielders, they're back on their heels, and I'm sure Rod Delmonico will make a change pretty early. He doesn't want this kind of a game with just 2 days before he has to go into action in Miami.
Pudge wasn't happy with this call.
Thought it was outside.
Now a 2-2 pitch.
Well, there's an expression with pitchers where you say aiming the ball, and boy, was that a classic example by Walsma. There wasn't any freedom or not a fluid motion at all. He's just almost like throwing darts.
Struck him out with a fastball. I think Pudge was stunned. He threw a strike. Well, he got it by him.
He got himself out in that at bat. He chased a pitch out of the strike zone, and then I think the frustration as he turns around and says something to Eric Cooper, the frustration of the pitch he didn't think was a strike, and he chased what would have been ball 4.
So now Giovanni Soto, if Pim Walsma gets out of this inning,
we'll buy a lottery ticket.
And gives up just 1 run?
Yeah.
And throws 30-something pitches? Now he's behind 2-0.
Well, if you followed the pitch count limits here, starters are limited to 70 pitches. Might be about 2 innings worth for Pim.
That one is fouled back. While we have a chance, we'd like to say hello and also say thank you to all the men and women in the armed forces serving around the globe who are watching us tonight from San Juan, the World Baseball Classic. Pool D, the darlings of the Classic, the Netherlands and Puerto Rico. Both are headed to the second round. The winner of this one will open that second round against the loser of the U.S. Venezuela game tonight. Puerto Rican team loaded with stars. Soto is one of those, the rookie of the year, the starting catcher for the National League.
Off speed pitch and a 3-1 count. And got it in the strike zone.
Soto sends it left center field, and Pim Walsma is going to get out of this walking 4 and giving up just 1 run. It's 1-0. Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico on top, 1-0, top of the second. Vince Roy leads it off. Sidney DeYoung and Kurt Smith to follow in the second against Jonathan Sanchez. The Netherlands had a runner thrown out at the plate. And it was Randall Simon. Sanchez delivers a strike. We saw a little bit of Vince Roy last night. Roy came in and hit the ball hard twice.
Exactly. 2 good at bats. And then the first inning, I mean, the Netherlands batting order in the last couple innings they've played has hit the ball harder than they have in the previous 3 games. As a team, they were hitting 137 coming into this game. They had 11 singles and 2 doubles.
That ball's hit well to center field. Beltran back, and he makes the catch.
Well, Kim Walsma with a very difficult first inning, as he came into the dugout. There's his pitching coach, Bert Blyleven, with some, it's going to be all right, kids, settle down. You got out of it with just 1 run. Bert has been a tremendous influence on this staff. I think one of the reasons he is so passionate about it, he enjoys it so much, wants to see these young kids improve.
Well, it's such an honor for him to serve as the pitching coach for his homeland. He was born in the Netherlands. Here's Sidney DeYoung. Born in the Netherlands, moved to Canada when he was 2, and then his parents moved to Los Angeles when he was 8. He grew up rooting for the Dodgers. Aviles has a strong arm, and he throws out DeYoung.
I was pitching for the Minnesota Twins, and our owner / general manager was Calvin Griffith, and he knew that I was of Dutch descent. And we had a Cuban right-hander back in the 60s, Camilo Pascual, who had a terrific curveball. We called it the gancho, the hook. And Calvin said to me, we got a Dutch kid like you. He's only 18. And he might have the best curveball I've seen and anybody's seen since Pascual. And Bert came up in June of 1970 at age 19 and won his first start, then established
that drive out of play.
As it established himself as one of the premier curveball pitchers during the 70s and well into the 80s.
You know, the funny thing about that curveball is that Blyleven didn't start throwing it until he was 13 years old. Here's the 0-1. Chopper to short. Aviles by a step. He throws out Smith. The Netherlands goes down quickly in the second. 1-0 Puerto Rico. Jose Oquendo, the manager of Puerto Rico, perfect so far in the Classic, up 1-0. Our umpires tonight, Eric Cooper for the United States, Luis Ramirez, we've seen him a few times from Mexico. Laz Diaz was behind home plate last night. He's at second. And Corey Davis out of Canada is at third base. Pim Walsma threw a slew of pitches in the first inning, and his first pitch of this inning is slapped into left field by Felipe Lopez.
And evidently, with the dusky conditions right here, not able to pick up the ball. That was a catchable ball left field. I don't think Curt Smith was able to track it. Little looper, plenty of hang time, and Smith just now coming into your picture.
Aviles, Lopez is running on the first pitch. Hit and run ground ball. Played nicely by Dersma, and he fires over to first. It's a subtle thing, but it shows you how good the Netherlands is defensively. On a hit and run situation, they bring the shortstop over to cover, and they leave the second baseman at home.
And it pays off. They get an out. It also pays off for Jose Oquendo's team. That's one thing the Dominican team did not do. They had a lot of all-stars. They had a lot of pop in their lineup, but it was like they were playing home run derby. Here, Puerto Rico has one run on the board, and they're going to advance the runner into scoring position and keep trying to tack on a couple runs early because they know the Netherlands lineup doesn't have a lot of punch.
Jesus Feliciano. Well, that's a great example of what Oquendo told us at the start of the Classic, because he managed in '06, and the biggest lesson he learned was that you have to manage the superstars. You got to make them run. You got to make them hit and run. Got to make them bunt. They have to buy in that it's not an all-star team, that they are a baseball team. Up the middle, nifty play by Dersma. And 2 outs as Feliciano is robbed of a hit, and that saves a run with Lopez now at third.
Well, it gets there in a hurry off the turf, but the advantage, you don't get any bad hops. Nice play by Dersma. The ball stays down. It tends to skip. Infielders will tell you 9 out of 10 go under. You got to keep your head down, your rear end down, and your glove down, and keep it from going under. Dersma did that.
Ramon Vasquez walked in the first. Well, Walsma obviously has started to find the plate a little more.
A little more relaxing that first inning, the first inning nerves, particularly when he's coming off a year where he was primarily a relief pitcher, used to coming in after, toward the end of the game. A little different approach as a starter.
One ball, one strike, 2 down. Bottom of the second. Not many wearing a Netherlands uniform tonight slept a wink last night. After what we saw here, 11 innings of high anxiety to give up a run on the ball that skipped under Kingsale's glove in the top of the 11th, and then come back with Kingsale not only tying it, racing to third on the throwing error by Marmol, and scoring on the ball off to Castor's bat. That's at the knees, and it's 2-2. Now they can sleep tonight before they fly to Miami. Walsma misses inside. Full count, 2 outs. Beltran on deck. And Vasquez takes 5th walk issued by Walsma.
Now that probably ensures the fact they're not going to get him through the 3rd inning as Bert Blyleven looks on. The 70 pitch limit. He's at 46 right now. And he's got a pitch to the heart of the order. Bergman up again in the Netherlands bullpen. Talked about how Netherlands pitching staff has been able to get by with base on balls most of the time. It cost them the first time against Puerto Rico.
Beltran goes after the first pitch, fouls it at the plate. In the World Baseball Classic, we were just talking about the pitch count for starters in round 1. That goes up to 85 in round 2. 10-run mercy rule starting after the 7th, 15-run after the 5th. The Major League Replay rule is in effect, and we almost got to that 13th inning last night, didn't we?
Close.
That's the Olympic extra inning rule that we saw in the Beijing Olympics, where you start the 13th with runners at first and second and nobody out. Both teams getting at bat that way to start their inning. Lopez and Vasquez on the corner, and Beltran sends it into the seats. It's 1-2.
Be a little frustrating for the home team here to only get 1 run in 2 innings with all the base runners they've had.
It's inside. As we showed you earlier, the Netherlands pitching staff is averaging almost 2 base runners an inning, and yet they've had such a nice run in their 3 games here in San Juan. Runner goes, a delayed steal, and Vasquez swipes it.
Now an example catching the Netherlands team on their heels because of the tempo that the pitcher has started. Everybody back on their heels. Don't see many crisply played games in the field behind pitchers that throw this many out of the strike zone.
And Beltran goes after a shoe-high fastball and strikes out. And 2 more are left. And it's only 1-0. We've had great crowds here in San Juan, especially when Puerto Rico has been in action. It's the capacity here is 19,000. Last time they played, they had 19,600 in here. Danny Rombley goes after Jonathan Sanchez's first pitch. Rombley, Michael Dersma, and then Eugene Kingsale. 8-9-1 in the Netherlands order in the 3rd.
Quite a contrast in the pitchers. Sanchez with a power arm, live fastball, working ahead of the hitters. Walsma struggling off speed. A lot of pitches out of the zone, yet we still have a 1-0 game. It's been miraculous what the Netherlands has been able to do. We talk about pitching out of jams with all the base runners they've allowed. Then look at their lineup coming into tonight. 137 last, no home runs last. They knocked in 3 runs. They've scored 6 runs. That's where they rank in the Classic, the whole Classic with every team. We did go. And yet, with all those negative numbers hitting and the base runners, they've been able to win 2 out of 3. Nice sharp slider by Sanchez. Again, like Jimenez last night, these inexperienced, professionally speaking, Netherlands hitters have not seen stuff like this before. Live arms, sharp sliders.
Dersma, the 9-hitter. He was 1 for 4 against Puerto Rico. He shoots it foul.
Mentioned the live arms and sharp sliders and big league stuff. Rod Delmonico is the national manager. When all this Classic is over, he'll go to the Netherlands and he'll begin to organize his national team, because in international competition, when they play other teams from Europe, they win most of the time. There's a big tournament in Rotterdam in July where 10 countries will participate, and then in September where 20 countries will participate. But they don't see stuff like this as Dersma swings through it.
And he doesn't have the guys that are in the minor leagues the DeCasters, the Scopes, Janssen, kids like that, they're not at his disposal in those summer tournament months.
They're playing minor league baseball in the United States. He will watch the 6 teams over there that play professionally and try to pick the best of those to blend with the guys we're seeing here tonight and keep trying to improve their national team.
Leon Boyd, one of the stars over there. Kingsale was a treat to interview after the game last night. Chopper back to the mound, and Sanchez flips on over to first. Jonathan Sanchez looks smooth right now for Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico on top 1-0, and Pim Walsma's night is done after 52 pitches. He gives way to David Bergman.
And Bergman, known as a strike thrower, the Netherlands could use that right now. That's what he's done in the Classic in 2 1/3 innings. No walks, no strikeouts. Pitches in the Dutch Professional League during the summer.
He gets Delgado, Rios, and Ivan Rodriguez. Carlos Delgado walked in the first. They've walked him now 3 times. They've hit him once. And the only time he's been able to swing the bat, he doubled.
First 2 innings for the Puerto Rico lineup is an example of how misleading statistics can be. Sometimes team earned run average, team batting average, even individual batting average, because the Netherlands team an example of pitching well with men on base. That's why they are where they are. And from a hitting standpoint, you want hitters that can hit with runners on base. Puerto Rico's had 7 base runners. They only have 1 run.
How much of that is discipline?
A lot of it is discipline. A lot of it is frustration in the first 2 innings.
Delgado goes the other way and dumps it into left field. Just the second hit.
Two strikes, waits nicely, inside pitch, takes it the other way with the shift on, and Smith playing very deep in left field. That falls in for a base hit.
You know, the other night on his home run, we watched his eyes, Delgado's eyes, how they light up. And I asked him, I said, is that a drill that you do? And he goes, He said, ever since I was a kid, that's always happened. It's just a natural reflex that his eyes open wider as the ball leaves the pitcher's hand. And you don't see that with a lot of hitters. But Delgado's is very pronounced.
I had that for 25 years from hitters. Their eyes got real wide when my fastball came up there. It looked good. The frustration I mentioned is that they're facing a pitcher who couldn't throw strikes. And in the big leagues, you're facing pitchers that are usually around the plate. You get a little comfortable. You can sort of be assured that the ball will be in or around the strike zone.
Line shot. Scope. Boy, that ball was hit hard.
But I think what frustrated the hitters in the first 2 innings against Pim Walsma was it was ball 1, ball 2, and then all of a sudden he'd come out of nowhere with a great pitch on 3-2.
See, they even have bling in the Netherlands, as Bergman has to tuck in the big necklaces. This was the epitome of the frustration, the at-bat that Pudge had.
Swung at 2 pitches out of the strike zone in a situation where he could have knocked in a few. That's what he did last season with the Tigers and the Yankees.
He had the big opening day, the 2 home runs and the 4 RBIs. One out, 3rd inning. Pim Walsma threw 52 pitches, walked 5, but gave up just 1 run. Delgado has singled here in the 3rd. Pudge at the plate. So for Pudge in this classic, these were the 2 home run swings, but these were the swings his next game.
And then tonight in his first at bat.
Obviously trying to follow up that big performance in game 1, trying to impress the scouts. Strike 3 called. A changeup. Now Pudge is unhappy with that call. And he and Eric Cooper with a few words.
Probably doesn't see a lot of 2-strike changeups. There's nothing wrong with that pitch. That's if you lined it up with his belt buckle, it's not much above the belt, and the strike zone should be up just underneath the armpit. So I think what happened just fooled him. He got a 2-strike off-speed pitch. Something he doesn't see a lot of in the major leagues.
Soto. Giovanni Soto flied to center in the 1st. He quickly has become a rock behind the plate for the Cubs. And he was put there in the heat of a pennant race in 2007. And responded and played so well that he played in that postseason. Still a rookie last year, and the everyday catcher, rookie of the year, all-star starter. (3-0). Felipe Lopez, who singled back in the 2nd. That's outside. 6th walk issued.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. You see Rod Delmonico with some encouragement, but he said the other day, sooner or later, Bert looking over at him, he said, just sooner or later we know you can't get by with that many base on balls time after time.
Iran Beathorn Stadium in San Juan. What a great sight for Pool D. And the people of San Juan have really embraced this event. The entire town decorated with World Baseball Classic stuff. This site hosted 2nd round games in 06, 1st round here. They built it in '62. It used to have a short porch, and now it's a much more of a big league feel around the outfield. 404 to straightaway center, 375 in the gaps. 1-1. That's down the right field line and foul. Lopez would have driven in 2.
They keep dodging trouble. Just a little looper, a couple feet in foul territory. You mentioned the dimensions, and what helps the pitchers, even though those dimensions are favorable for the hitters, the flags. If you are a right-hand hitter, hit the ball left field, you got to get all of it. We've seen a lot of balls hit well out there and come up on the warning track. Carries well from right center toward the line. That seems to be the prevailing wind coming in from that left field corner.
The Dutch pitching staff has used that to their advantage. They did
sure
last night. There were a couple balls hit by Hanley Ramirez that died on the warning track. 1-2. He got him. Bergman comes back and strikes out Lopez, and still only 1 run from Puerto Rico. Well, as messy as it's been for the Netherlands pitchers, it's been neat and tidy for Jonathan Sanchez. Jose Oquendo has been able to put quality arms out there. And Sanchez has responded. Charlin Scope goes after a fastball.
Again, it's amazing how the Netherlands has been able to do what they've done when you look at what other teams have done. And pitching efficiency. Look at Puerto Rico, 21 innings, just 19 base runners allowed, and only 1 earned run.
Ian Snell and Javier Vasquez, the other starters.
During the regular major league season, if you see a Cy Young Award winner, say he pitches 200 innings, if you add up his hits allowed and base on balls, and they're fewer than his innings pitched, that's about as good as you can get. That's what the Puerto Rico team has done as a staff. And then for the Netherlands, they've already allowed 9 base runners tonight, yet they've only given up 1 run. Sooner or later, that catches up with you. If you follow golf, there's a couple golfers in attendance here. The Puerto Rican Open starts tomorrow. Jay Delsing, the son of a former big leaguer Jimmy Delsing, and Kurt Smith are here. We were talking about
in the air, out into center.
We were talking about the comparison to golf and what the Netherlands team has been doing. So if you play golf, if you have to keep making 6-7 foot putts for par every hole, after you do that about 4 times, catches up with you, and that's what will happen with base on balls.
You want to talk golf? The neighbor of Carlos Beltran, Chichi Rodriguez.
He was here last night, I understand.
Felix Trinidad was here the other night as well. Randall Simon hits that one into left field. Trinidad, the great boxer from Puerto Rico.
And I believe the ceremonial first pitch tonight was thrown out by Cha-Cha, Orlando Cepeda, a Hall of Famer here from Puerto Rico.
Cepeda, one of the numbers that's retired here. Urendel de Caster, who hit one hard to the wall in the first. And the Netherlands looked like they were going to get on the board until Randall Simon ran out of gas trying to score from first. And was thrown out on a nice relay throw by Micah Vilas, who put it right on the money to Giovanni Soto. You wonder if the Netherlands is going to go through 4 games here and not hit a home run.
They have 3 extra base hits.
A strike to DeCaster, and it's 3-1. Got to the big leagues for 3 at-bats with the Pirates. And he had a busy night last night.
This is the way the game ended. Reached out, poked it down the first baseline. Willie Ibar off the heel of his glove, slides in safely. Game over as Kingsales scores. And the biggest upset in international baseball history.
DeCaster walks, a 2-out walk. Sanchez, that's the first free pass that he's allowed. And Vince Roy comes up. Well, from here on out, if they win another game, if they win this one or if they win one in Miami, you're going to have to keep using that phrase, biggest upset in international baseball history, because each team they play from here on out will have some major leaguers on it.
Well, they don't want the dream to end, but they've by far exceeded any expectations to do what they did against the Dominican team.
Good cut, and Roy was just late.
He's been the most impressive, really, of the Netherlands hitters. I mean, he was right on time with that one, fouled it straight back. His other 3 at-bats, he's really centered the ball. He's hit it hard every time.
0-1.
Centering it is a term that hitters use because they want to hit it right in. You mentioned Chichi Rodriguez. There's a sweet spot on a golf club where when you hit it, you know, it jumps off, and the hitters want to center it on the barrel of the bat. And Roy has done that well in his 3 at-bats.
It's going to be an interesting Giants rotation. If Zito can bounce back and Randy Johnson can find some of his old form. Tim Lincecum is lights out. Matt Cain is a good young starter. Lowry, who was out last year with some elbow surgery, has had some issues with that elbow. Not sure if Noah will be back. And so they're counting on Jonathan Sanchez in Bruce Bochy's rotation. Inside corner, nice pitch. Jonathan Sanchez, 4 impressive innings from the lefty. It's a 1-0 ball game in the bottom of the 4th. David Bergman gets Mike Aviles, Jesus Feliciano, Ramon Vasquez. In the 4th, the 9-1-2 hitters for Puerto Rico. They are 2-0 right now and headed to Miami, trying to win this game. That would get them the loser of the Venezuela-United States game tonight. Victor Zambrano and Ted Lilly on the mound in that one. Popped up. Vijong, the catcher, and he's called off by DeCaster, who makes the catch. Mexico and Australia later on tonight. Group 1, Pool B, tonight, 10 Eastern, for the right to move on to the 2nd round in San Diego. That matchup is just like last night's matchup between the Netherlands and the Dominican Republic. Cuba, on a pinch hit home run, has already advanced out of that pool. Bergman has settled things down after a shaky 2-inning start by Pim Walsma, who walked 5 but escaped by giving up just the 1 run. A loud single.
Tenth base runner. Right back at you. See the expression on Bergman's face. I think that's one of the things that amateur players and then professional players with limited experience, when you start facing big leaguers, the speed of the game. It's hit harder, it's thrown harder, they run faster.
Vasquez takes a strike.
And you would expect, as we talked to Jose Akendo about playing the game, I mean, they've had all these base runners and haven't been able to score but 1 run, that maybe a hit and run, try to do some things to create a little action on the base paths.
Bergman is a veteran, he knows that.
Throws strikes, doesn't strike out a lot of hitters. A pitcher you can trust your hitter can make contact with.
Misses outside.
Barry Van Driel, he has not seen any action yet in the Classic. 6'6" right-hander warming up.
Runner goes and it's pulled foul. Boy, it's hard to imagine that Van Driel and we saw Walsma, guys that haven't seen any action, as deep as the Netherlands has had to go to their pen in all 3 games, that they still have some guys we haven't seen.
Trying to get as much out of these pitchers tonight, and yet, as we've talked about the rules and the pitch counts, to make sure they're available on Saturday with a couple days rest.
last night, Rod Delmonico and Bert Blyleven would have liked to have had another inning or two out of Rob Quartermans. But as you noted, Quartermans looked like he was tired. And when we talked to Bert today, he was tired. And Blyleven saw it, and that's why they brought him out of the game. High pop-up. Scope calls everyone off and makes the catch.
Yeah, he's accustomed to being a starter with a few more days rest. You mentioned the pitch count early on in the rules here in the Classic. The reason they can go 85 pitches in round 2, this is normal spring training time for a lot of the pitchers, and that's what Bergman has thrown so far, 28. So, you know, as you get more and more outings, your pitch count increases to get ready for the opening of the Major League season, where you'd hope your starters could throw at least 100.
Beltran 0 for 2. Fielder's choice and a strikeout. He has not faced Bergman tonight. There will be plenty of Puerto Rican fans and probably some Met fans to greet Beltran and Delgado at Dolphin Stadium in round 2. South Florida has a mixture of a lot of Major League allegiances and plenty of Met fans down there. Well, as some Yankee fans, some Red Sox fans, and of course Marlin fans. These fans don't stop. Hour and a half for the ball game. They're in the park. They're making noise. They're making music. They stay till after the game is over.
It's an all-day picnic or a tailgate party.
Feliciano's at first. There's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. It's a 1-0 game. Runner break, strike 3 called. Bergman strikes out Beltran. Second time Beltran has gone down on strikes, and the Netherlands hanging in there again. It's 1-0. Iram Bithorn Stadium, San Juan, Puerto Rico, 1-0. Puerto Rico on top. Jonathan Sanchez's night over. He goes 4 innings, and he gives way to Orlando Román.
Last season with New Hampshire, that's a Toronto Blue Jays farm club. 21 games. Primarily a relief pitcher. He's pitched some in the Mexican League.
He gets Sidney DeYoung, Kurt Smith, Danny Rongley. 6, 7, 8 in the Netherlands order.
Not the drama in tonight's game, even though it is the game to determine the #1 seed. I think both these teams comfortable that they know they're moving on to the next round.
You know, there's not the drama, but this game feels like Puerto Rico should be up 6-7 to nothing.
Yeah, they haven't been able to get a big 2-out hit. A lot of base runners.
And the longer the Netherlands hangs in there.
And that's exactly, that's a good term. That's just what they've been doing. They just hang in there. They hang around. They catch the ball well. They throw enough strike. They've walked a lot of guys, but when they get in deep counts like Bergman did there, they make a good pitch on 3-2, get out of jams.
And the point you made tonight is a great one in that, yes, the winner of this one gets a higher seed going to Miami. There's some money on the line for these players from the Netherlands.
Exactly. They don't have the multi-million-dollar contracts that a lot of the big league stars do. The salary over in Europe in American dollars, probably about $30,000 for a player. They already have $12,000 in their pocket. $700,000 to the team. Half goes to the Baseball Federation. Half is split up among the players. If they were to win tonight's game, that's another about $6,000. So they're making $30,000 they'd get an extra 18. That's a pretty big percent. I remember back in the days of the New York Yankees in the early 60s, when if you made $30,000-$40,000, that was big money. There were a lot of players making 10 to 15, but the Yankee front office would sign them and sell them on the fact that, well, we're only paying you $15,000, but we're going to win the World Series, and that's an extra 8. That's a big percentage.
That's a year's worth of meal money now for a big league player.
They spend that in bling.
Yes, they do. They didn't have bling in your day, did
no.
they?
They had Bing Crosby.
Yes,
no bling.
Sidney DeYoung takes outside.
Oh, they know Bing Crosby out there and all his albums and so forth worldwide.
I know Bing Crosby very well because I was in the Pacific Northwest for a while. He was a Gonzaga Bulldog. There's a big statue of Bing Crosby on that college campus, which has such a great college basketball team. Sidney DeYoung, his hit really was lost in all the celebration last night, but he was the guy that all of a sudden snapped everyone back to life when he led off the bottom of the 11th with that double.
Well, it's a game of firsts, and you're against a pitcher like Carlos Marmol, one of the most dominant, powerful relief pitchers in the National League. So to get that first out is huge for the Dominican team. And Sidney DeYoung, the first hitter, smoked a double to put the tying run in scoring position for them right away.
The other at bat that was lost was the guy at the plate, Curt Smith. When they needed to move a runner up after the double by DeYoung, Smith was up. Marmol got 2 strikes on him, and Smith, a minor leaguer in the Cardinals organization, stroked a ground ball up the middle. Jose Reyes made a tremendous play to dive and stop the ball and then get up and throw him out, but it moved the runner up. It allowed the inning to continue to roll, and it set up the Kingsale at bat.
Taking a long look right now at Wim Martinez to see whether the hit and run might be on or the bunt.
Good live fastball from Roman. Soto didn't catch it. The other thing Rod Delmonico talked about before the ball game, as Van Klooster is on the on-deck circle, is just the experience that some of the younger players like Curt Smith, like Charlin Scope, like Kenley Jansen, the experience they're getting in these games. I heard some of the Team USA players who are involved for the first time, guys that have been in the big leagues 3 or 4 years, talk about, my goodness, the atmosphere is like a playoff game. It's like a postseason game.
I think I read where they've drawn more fans up in the Rogers Center for some of these classic games than they do for a lot of key series between the Blue Jays and Red Sox and Blue Jays and Yankees.
Where else can you expose a player to that type of atmosphere other than the Major League postseason? High pop of Vilas is out, and the wind takes him all the way into shallow center field. The game going on right now in the Rogers Center. A rematch. The United States hammered Venezuela earlier in Pool C, but they're meeting right now in the bottom of the second. The winner of that game will be a higher seed. They're both coming to Miami, and these two teams are both coming to Miami. And so the winner tonight plays the loser of that USA-Venezuela game, South Florida. The loser will play the winner of USA-Venezuela. Not a bad destination.
Biscayne Bay. Rob Delmonico will go to his bench now that the left-hander Sanchez is out. One of his better hitters, Dirk Van Klooster, hit 400 one year for Kinheim over in the Netherlands. Javier Lopez.
Yeah, getting ready. Van Klooster. Swing and a miss.
Sharp breaking pitch.
Ground ball. Oh, just foul. Oh, and 2. Almost snuck that one inside the line. And I'll bet you at Dolphin Stadium you're going to see some of these fans there as well.
No question.
Will travel from Puerto Rico. And that was part of the story this morning out of the Dominican Republic. Many of those fans had already booked flights, were ready to rock and roll and head to Miami. Big swing and a miss. And there's 2 outs here in the 5th.
Swings through the high fastball. You can see Soto's target. He wanted it upstairs. Nice late movement on the pitch by Roman.
Dersma. Been some great headlines surrounding this team as well. Dutch Treat, Dutch Delight. What was the one you had last night?
You ain't much if you ain't Dutch. That's an expression that we had on our t-shirts back in southwestern Michigan. It's a predominantly Dutch area.
Had your parents come from Holland, or were they
grandparents?
Grandparents. So you would not be able to pitch.
Oh yes.
For this team, grandparents.
Yes. One of your sets of grandparents, either one, if they are born in that country.
You could be pitching for Bert Blyleven right now. They could use you tonight. They could get an inning or 2.
They don't get more pitches in the strike zone, we might get a call, because they'd like to save as many as they could for Saturday. Sidney Ponson would get the start for the Netherlands on Saturday. Rick van den Hurk on Sunday. Double elimination format, just like the first round.
Don't be so quick to pencil Van den Hurk in on Sunday. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Roman looks sharp. Still 1-0. Bottom of the 5th, 1-0 ball game. Puerto Rico on top of the Netherlands. WorldBaseballClassic.com. There's a lot of stuff there. You get news, stats, scores. And if you want a hat from the Netherlands or a Puerto Rican jersey, that's where to find it. WorldBaseballClassic.com. I don't think the "You ain't much if you ain't Dutch" shirts are there yet.
I'll get you one. They will be.
Another full house tonight here in San Juan. Van Klooster is out and right. And Bergman, who's been so far puzzling to the Puerto Ricans, goes into the 5th inning, his 3rd inning in relief. He's given up a couple hits, struck out 3, walked 1.
And that's probably a good pitching term, Rich, puzzling, because one of the things I've noticed about the Dutch pitchers, and I'm sure after this round is over some of the experienced major league hitters might comment on it, is they're pitchers they haven't seen before, but pitching in the major leagues in the United States has become so much sinker slider, side to side. Not a lot of variety in speeds as far as to and fro. By that I mean, as you see Van Driel continue to warm up, add and subtract, put a little on, take a little off, which is a more effective way to pitch. And that's what I see from some of the Dutch pitchers. We saw it with Struyfbergen last night, the starter. And Bergman, see, he'll throw that little, here it is, batting practice fastball, low curveball, and then put a little extra on it. And again, another base on balls. I think that is now 11 or 12 base runners that the Puerto Rico team has had. And you keep saying, how long can they keep escaping trouble? Well, they've been able to do it so far for 3.5 games.
Alex Rios, he's walked and then hit a searing line drive out to shortstop. Rios fouls it back. Delgado's done his part. I mean, he's 5 for 6, but tonight 8 runners left on base. Delgado has been Puerto Rico's best offensive player in their 3 ball games, this being the 3rd. In the dirt. Alex Rios of the Blue Jays, a 2-time All-Star. He's getting a taste of what Carlos Delgado got in the first part of his career, a little anonymity from playing in Toronto. I mean, Delgado, look at the numbers that he's put up. He's only been an All-Star a couple times, Delgado has. Yet he's driven in 100 runs in 9 of his last 11 years, and Carlos said a lot of that had to do with playing in Toronto and playing in the American League, where there was some great first basemen. And although Rios has made a couple All-Star games, he's not a household name. Gets into that one. Kingsale dives and won't get it. To the wall it goes. Delgado racing around 3rd. They will send him to the plate, and he's going to score.
Just a matter of time between the base before the base on balls will catch up. Another good at bat by Rios, and a great effort by Kingsale, just out of his reach. And once it gets by him off that artificial turf, Delgado could score easily, and Rios gets in with a triple.
Going to bring the middle infield in halfway now with Pudge up. Bergman misses. It's 1-0. 2 strikeouts tonight, swinging in the 1st and looking in the 3rd. One-0 pitch. It's a foul ball. Of course, Pudge is auditioning for a big league job, and that's one of the sidebars of last night. in that Pedro Martinez no longer has a team to pitch for to showcase his talents. Did he do enough in his 2 starts, Jim, to warrant somebody signing him?
Boy, what a lack of pitching in the major leagues as far as at the bottom of the rotation. I can't understand why a team wouldn't give him a chance. Boy, not the same hitter. Again, the adding and subtracting, not the same hitter we saw in game 1. Took a lot off that pitch. They don't do as much of that in the major leagues, in my opinion, as they should. More side-to-side pitching, and you're seeing what it's doing to big league hitters.
Hit hard into left field, a base hit. 3-0. That's what they came to see tonight. They wanted to see their heroes. And Ivan Rodriguez certainly qualifies as one of those.
Off-speed pitch down and away, and then they tried to come inside with the fastball and didn't get it in far enough out of the outreach glove of DeCaster. Alexander Smit, left-hander for the Netherlands, will come on and take over the pitching duties.
Bergman exits. Puerto Rico has built a 3-0 lead in San Juan. Puerto Rico on top of the Netherlands, 3-0 in the bottom of the 5th. Right after our ball game, Mexico and Australia in Mexico City for the right to move on to the 2nd round in San Diego. Jorge Campillo will go for Mexico. The Braves pitcher David Welch, who's a Brewers farmhand, will pitch for Australia. It starts at 10 Eastern. Check your local listings for the games and times in your area. Venezuela in Pool C scores first in the bottom of the 3rd. Of course, the winner of that game will go into Miami as a higher seed. The winner of this game will go into Miami as a higher seed. The winner of this game will get the loser of those two, Alexander Smit.
Third game he's appeared in here in the Classic. Throws a couple of quick strikes. Saw his numbers in the minor leagues here over in the United States last year.
Pudges at first, and Giovanni Soto goes down swinging.
Good live fastball from Schmidt.
Up comes Felipe Lopez. Lopez will be counted on this year to play second base every day in Arizona. And he's got big shoes to fill. Orlando Hudson, a fine second baseman, stays in the division, goes to the Dodgers. With a ground ball, Roy got one. Scopes turn, safe. Roy didn't get back to the bag, and Lopez runs well.
Nice play to get one. Lopez slaps it the other way. Roy right there to backhand it. And the most difficult play for a right-handed first baseman. Scope delivers it in time, and Roy doesn't get back to the bag. In the United States, in the major leagues for years, the best at doing that for a right-handed first baseman was Tino Martinez, who played first base for the New York Yankees. Before Tino, it was Kent Herbeck with the Minnesota Twins.
Avila shoots that one into right field. Van Klooster has it.
Puerto Rico lineup doing a much better job against this Netherlands pitching staff, making contact, using the whole field. Again, an example of what the Dominican team did not. They appeared to take big swings and try to hit the ball out of the ballpark all the time. And again, you keep putting this many base runners on inning after inning, eventually it'll pay off. They now have 6 hits. They've had a ton of base runners. They finally cracked through this inning for 2 runs, and they're 1 swing away from putting a couple more on the board. And with the lack of pop in the Netherlands batting order, that could be enough with their solid pitching down in the bullpen.
The Netherlands has issued 7 walks as well. Feliciano. Little pop-up foul. The matchup that never took place. Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. Van Klooster is under it, and Smith comes in and finishes the inning. 2 across and a 3-0 lead. Sixth inning arrives, and Jose Oquendo not partaking in the between inning entertainment.
Right ahead of Jose there is longtime Major League outfielder Jerry Morales. Spent some time with the Chicago Cubs. Javier Lopez is the pitcher. He spent time last year with the Red Sox.
Quality time.
Yes, 70 games, 59 innings. Lefty-lefty specialist. Not a lot of strikeouts. He's in there in this situation. Managers look down the batting order. 3-run lead. Who's coming up? Well, the number 3 hitter would be Randall Simon. So if the Netherlands would get a couple base runners, that's who they want to face. Simon. Tough on lefties from that down under delivery.
You know, the other thing working here in Oquendo's whole scheme tonight is he's got guys that are big league players that need to get game action just to keep the same rhythm of training camp, because the players have been here now for a week, and you got guys that are trying to get ready for a big league season. So in a game like tonight, where maybe it's not as tight as it was earlier in the pool, you'd like to get everybody in there for some swings, or if you haven't pitched, get you in there, throw an inning or 2.
Kingsale with a leadoff single. Right-handers can see that delivery a little bit better than lefties.
Hensley Mullins, the hitting coach for the Netherlands.
They called him Bam Bam. He's now with the San Francisco Giants. He's the first player to reach the major leagues coming out of Curacao. Signed with the New York Yankees. That's really where baseball began to become popular in Curacao, is through Hensley Mullins. Bam Bam, because even though he was a left-hand hitter, he was strong like Bam Bam from the Flintstones.
Here's the 1-0.
He was one of the most scouted players. His godfather went to college in the United States at Springfield, and he was a tremendous amateur player, on a par with the great Cuban third baseman years ago, Omar Linares. Had a great reputation as a power hitter.
Scope takes inside, and you know the emotion that the players felt last night. You can just imagine what Hensley Mullins felt to have his country win that game. Kingsale's back.
Yeah, because baseball not a recognized sport for the most part till he came along. 1985, he made it with the New York Yankees.
Of course, then when Andrew Jones burst on the scene in the mid-90s, he the premier player out of Curacao. Right now trying to win a job with the Texas Rangers and revive his career.
Almost half of the roster for the Netherlands is from Curacao. Pitching hasn't been as crisp tonight other than Sanchez. Deep counts, much slower pace. Last night Jimenez and Stoifbergen established a nice tempo to the game, and it was a well played game.
Eugene Kingsale's at first. Charlin Scope still looking for his first hit of the Classic. He's 0 for 13.
Dick Groach, not Dick Groat, the former basketball player, but a scout named Dick Groach from the Yankees is the one that eventually signed Hensley. He had a lot of teams come visit his home. He was an excellent student. Dad didn't want him to sign right away.
Chopper over the middle. Aviles. Nicely done.
Sinking action on the fastball. Nice play by Aviles. Tapped the bag. And an easy double play.
Charnal Adriana is going to take the at bat. And Randall Simon will get the rest of the night off.
I think Rob Delmonico figuring most of the relievers coming out of that Puerto Rico bullpen the last part of the game will be lefties, so he gets his right-hand bat in there right now.
Adriana last night started, went 0 for 2. He has a couple hits in the Classic. Lopez got a little better rhythm now.
And it's not a power fastball, but we use the term a lot, late movement. That's what pitchers would like. Right when it gets in front of the hitter, it takes a little move down to the side, away from him, or down and in the slider's case. The later that happens, the more difficult it is to time it. Greg Maddux, the master being able to put spin on the ball and have a late movement.
A swing and a miss. Down goes Adriana. Javier Lopez with a nice 6th inning. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Puerto Rico at home and on top. 3-0 ball game. Bottom of the 6th inning in Puerto Rico. Big tall right-hander Barry Vandrio kind of has the Randy Johnson mullet going.
Let's see what kind of pitching motion he has.
First pitch is fouled back by Ramon Vasquez with Beltran and Delgado to follow.
And the reason I say that, you see his numbers with Neptunus, 19 games, a lot of walks, fair amount of strikeouts. He was an infielder converted to a pitcher. That usually tells you two things. He didn't hit very well, and he's got a great arm. And maybe the best example in Major League Baseball. Trevor Hoffman, who will be with the Milwaukee Brewers this year, was a shortstop at the University of Arizona. Didn't hit too well, but he had a good arm and became a great relief pitcher.
I'll tell you a great opposite story of that. Pop up. DeCaster calls for it. Let's get you up to speed before we talk pitching and hitting on what's gone on in the World Baseball Classic. Korea kind of surprised some people as they come out of Pool A, and they in Japan head to San Diego. Cuba's already going to San Diego. Australia and Mexico coming up right after our ball game. The winner will also head down to San Diego. United States and Venezuela right now. Venezuela on top in that one, 1-0 in the fourth. And here in Pool D, Puerto Rico and the Netherlands for seeding. Both are headed to Miami. Delmonico will take his team to Dolphin Stadium. Beltran awaits. A guy that was a college pitcher, wasn't that great, turned into a very good outfielder in the big leagues. Jeff Conine pitched at UCLA, did not play a position, and his pitching coach ended up in the Kansas City Royals organization and convinced the Royals scouting department to just draft him because he was such a great athlete. He called Conine and said, Conine, Jeff, would you like to play outfield or first or a position? He said, well, I'll give it a shot.
Paid off.
It did. He got to the big leagues with Kansas City, won a couple of world championships, had a very nice career. And so there's a guy that was a pitcher in college, not a great one, and ended up being a All-Star Game MVP. Over the head of Scope. Beltran nurses a base hit.
This is why Carlos sometimes gets criticized a little bit. You never saw Pete Rose run to first base like that. You got to run out of the box like you're thinking double. That was a little blooper in the left center. He does get a single, and as Rich had mentioned, Jose Oquendo wants to get some of his bench players some at-bats. So he'll begin to make some changes right now.
Iram Boca Chica at first. Delgado at the plate. Barry Van Driel on the mound. And that one goes all the way to the screen.
Talking about players converting to other positions in the major leagues, because Van Driel was an infielder. DeYoung set up outside, and Van Driel showed his numbers with control, just making that transition, so his control's not too good. Throws that to the other side of the plate. There have been a lot of great college players who talented enough to do both. John Olerud, Dave Winfield, great college pitchers as well as terrific hitters. Winfield, a Hall of Fame baseball player, and could have played a number of sports. They're going to walk Delgado. They got a parking place for him with one out. Chance to get the double play with Rios.
Now Winfield was a college pitcher at Minnesota. Were you with the Twins at the time he was there?
No, that was a little before me. Maybe it was about the same time. Yeah, he was a college pitcher and a great basketball player, drafted as an NFL player. Talented athlete. Well, this is when Puerto Rico broke through after all the base on balls and left on base. They finally got an extra base hit from Rios. Nice effort by Kingsale. Can't come up with it. That plates Delgado. They scored 2 that inning to make it 3-zip. And with 2 on and 1 out, chance to expand the lead right here.
You know, that was one of the rumors going into the World Baseball Classic, is would Ichiro pitch? He has pitched, and he requested, he wanted to try it, and of course his club, the Seattle Mariners, said that's a really bad idea.
It sure is.
That's a bad idea. But he has continued to bug his manager since he's been in the big leagues to let him know that if anything ever got out of hand, that he'd be happy to go in there and give him a couple innings. Two-0 pitch. Foul back. Rios trying for another big blow, trying to crack this one wide open.
Yeah, if the Netherlands has any chance of winning this game, they've won low-scoring games. If they fall behind 4 or 5, Randall Simon out of the lineup right now, that'd be very difficult for that lineup to come back.
Just missed. Van Driel thought it was a strike. He's not real happy. And a big ovation for Bernie Williams.
Well, we saw Bernie have a little trouble in the field, a little trouble running the bases, but you see the hitting numbers in 16 seasons, all with the Yankees. Chance to blow this one open right here. He's on the billboard out beyond right center field.
With the bases loaded and 1 out, Williams has a chance to make a big impression here. Boca Chica, Delgado, Rios. Bernie Williams at 40. His hometown is San Juan. If he doesn't come back to the big leagues, he's one of the guys that can say his last at bat in the big leagues was a memorable one. It was a 9th inning pinch hit double.
They were teammates. Bernie coming up in the minor leagues, mid-80s, same time Hensley did.
That's foul. Do you think Williams, who last played in 2006, do you think he has regrets that he stepped away from the game too soon?
Well, I don't think he stepped away from it purposely. I think that he would have liked to have an opportunity to play somewhere.
He hit 281 in his last season. And he goes after a high fastball and strikes out. We've seen some of the auditions look good and some not so good.
Control a little shaky, but the live arm is there. 2 strikes, and he elevates the fastball. And Bernie swings through it.
Soto cracks one into center. Kingsale up with it. It's going to plate just around. Boca Chica scores. Delgado holds. That's how hard that ball was hit.
Well, Puerto Rico doing what the Dominican team could not do. They're getting enough base runners, and now finally they get some timely hits to keep adding on to that lead. And a 4 spot is a big lead against the Netherlands. Not much home run power in there to come back.
Lopez takes high. No swing. 2-0.
Probably see a pretty aggressive swing right here. Bases loaded, 2-0. Looking fastball, left-hand hitter.
Lopez has some pop, but now the count's 3-0. It's the liveliest place in this ballpark, the bleachers. Probably the liveliest place in every ballpark.
When their home team is playing.
Full count now, 3-2. Those fans lined up early in the afternoon to get into those bleacher seats. Bags loaded with 2 outs and the count full. So everybody will be on the move. Puerto Rico has a run here. They've added to the lead, up 4-0. Outside corner. Vandria limits the damage to just a run. Out of the bleachers, they like what they see. 4-0 Puerto Rico. Sights and sounds, and they are distinct sounds here in Puerto Rico, in San Juan. 4-0 on top of the Netherlands. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the World Baseball Classic Inc. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Rich Waltz along with Jim Cott. Glad you're with us wherever you are. And a tip of the cap to the men and women serving in the armed forces around the globe. It has been the most entertaining pool in round 1. Nelson Figueroa out of the bullpen.
It's what he did with the New York Mets last year in 16 games. High walk total, live arm, pitched 2 2/3 innings in the Classic. Has not allowed an earned run.
Yorendel de Castro. Iran Boca Chica stays in the game in left. And moving over to center is Feliciano. So Beltran out of the game. And de Castro goes down. Figueroa has pitched in just about every league there is. A great example of a guy that is willing to chase his dream all over the globe. Facing Vince Roy. Roy, one of the few hitters you'll see go without batting gloves. Don't see that too often these days.
Jorge Posada, a Latino player. The New York Yankees doesn't wear batting gloves.
Moises Alou as well. Vasquez across the diamond. The darlings of the Classic are the Netherlands. So we thought we'd give you a little taste of Netherlands baseball history. Baseball introduced in 1925, first international game. You could probably put Bert Blyleven's birthday in there as well. First Major League Baseball born player of the Netherlands, Win Remmerswaal. Qualified for the Olympics in '96. They've been there since, and there's 6 Major League Baseball academies in Holland. Of course, Blyleven, the most successful in terms of sheer numbers, born in the Netherlands.
And we mentioned Bam Bam with the influence from Curacao. Hensley, Bam Bam Mullins. Interesting young man, bright, speaks 5 languages. Native language down in Curacao is Papiamento.
It's one thing you get with the Dutch players. A lot of them speak 3 languages, 4, 5.
Hensley speaks Spanish, English, played some in Japan, and speaks some Japanese. That history, the graphic of the history, some of the influence from the United States, from my part of the United States in southwestern Michigan. Robert Einhorn played behind Derek Jeter in the New York Yankee organization as a shortstop, was the manager before Delmonico. Now he's called the technical director, which is the same as a general manager. But he remembers Bob Sullivan from Sullivan Furniture, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Took teams over there every year.
Nelson Figueroa, a dominant 7th inning. The Puerto Rican staff has been outstanding tonight. They're shutting down the Netherlands 4-0. Puerto Rico headed to Miami, and so will a lot of these fans head up to South Florida for round 2, which starts on Saturday at Dolphin Stadium. Miguel van Kampen, the right-hander.
With Kinheim back in the Netherlands Professional League last year in 24 games. In 30 innings of work, sparkling earned run average. Rod Delmonico just giving, even at a losing cause, some of his pitchers keep the pitch count down so he can use them all on Saturday.
We were talking a couple innings ago, and I think we both made the mistake of saying, yeah, it'll be Vandenhurk on Sunday. Well, somebody made that mistake here, penciling Vandenhurk into the loser bracket game. Remember at the start? That was a mistake. We both made it. All right, let's take a look and see what's happened in this one. The Netherlands had their opportunity early.
Well, this might have been a sign of things to come, that they weren't going to go their way. Finally got 2 hits in an inning, but Randall Simon trying to lumber home, was thrown out. Good sharp breaking ball from Sanchez. Rios with an extra base hit gets Puerto Rico on the board, and they tack on another one. Pudge comes up with a base hit. All adds up to a 4-0 lead. Speaking of Vandenhurk, you mentioned when the Netherlands goes to Miami, he may not pitch game 2 because it could be a surprise starter.
Special guest appearance by one of the best arms to come out of the Dutch Antilles Islands, possibly Jair Jurgens of the Atlanta Braves. But the Netherlands has to have an injury. They do have an injury. Hanley Stasia, their shortstop. So it will depend on how they want to replace him as they move to the 2nd round.
Well, if he makes it there, I'd start him in game 1.
Yeah, you're right. Well, it certainly would add some depth, because then you could slide one of your other starters into the long role. There's Vandenhurk seated next to babyface Tom Streufbergen. What a nice job he did last night. And then the veteran Sidney Ponson. Chopper to 3rd. DeCaster bounces it, and Roy digs it out. following this ball game, a similar situation to last night. It's a play-in game. The winner of this game goes to San Diego, Mexico or Australia. That's tonight at 10 Eastern. Venezuela has a 2-1 lead over the United States in the bottom of the 5th. Feliciano fouls it off. What's at stake in this one, and what's at stake in that game up in Canada with Venezuela on top? Pool 2, round 2 in Miami. The winner of this game, and right now it looks like Puerto Rico will play the loser of USA Venezuela, and the loser gets the winner of that game. Little tapper run down out there by Charlon Scope. Nice clean inning by Van Kampen. 4-0 Puerto Rico. Puerto Rican fans still going strong. 4-0 Puerto Rico on top. Ivan Maldonado out of the bullpen. He's a free agent. Big guy, 6'4", 230. Brian Engelhardt is going to come up to hit. You see that exchange? Eric Cooper asking him, well, who are you hitting for? And Engelhardt looked up and said,
for the Netherlands.
Yes. for my country. Actually, for the left fielder, Kurt Smith. One thing I think some fans don't realize is that the umpire, the home plate umpire, keeps a score sheet. See it in his pocket there with the pen. Eric Cooper keeps he gets the lineup cards from each manager, and he has to make sure he keeps track of who's coming in and out. That one's going out to right field. Rios picks it up, and Engelhardt has a pinch hit.
There's the lineup card Rich is talking about.
Van Klooster, his second at bat. The home plate umpire's got lots of gadgets. He's got the little clicker in his hand.
Keep track of the balls and strikes.
He's got the official World Baseball Classic pen and lineup card in his pocket.
Got a little broom, does he? Sweep off the plate. Ball bag, keep the spare baseballs in.
Yeah. There comes the broom. The broom's out. There he is. And stuff it back in that little utility bag there, which has got the baseballs and a little sweeper.
They may have increased the number of baseballs. For years, they rubbed up about 6 baseballs to start the game.
And a special mud to rub it up, right?
In the major leagues in the United States, off, I think, the river bottom, maybe the Mississippi River, but take that gloss off them, the shine, so they're easier to grip. But now, you know, years ago, players were scolded if they threw a ball into the stands to the fans. Hey, what are you doing? But now they're encouraged. So at the end of every inning, the ball will go into the stands and a fan will have a souvenir.
Home plate umpire. A home plate umpire is treated by the rest of his crew like a starting pitcher is treated the day that he works home plate. Because it's such a different routine. Couple base hits back to back here by the Netherlands.
Boy, this is something that tonight they have done more than they've done in the other 3 games, is put back-to-back hits together in the same inning. First inning it didn't pay off. Randall Simon got thrown out at home, but now Van Kluster slaps a single to left field. That'll get some bullpen action up for Puerto Rico in a hurry. Pedro Feliciano, the left-hander.
Dersma runs up the bunt and he takes down low. The top of the order's coming up. Got Kingsale, Scope, and Adriana to follow. And the pitching coach, Carlos Arroyo, on his way out.
Carlos, a pitching coach in the Philadelphia Phillies organization.
Let's see if they can keep the line moving. At the knees, 1-1. If you just happen by, this is a rematch of what was a thrilling game on Monday. The Netherlands nursed a 1-0 lead all the way into the bottom of the 8th. Yadier Molina's 2-run single erased that lead. Puerto Rico won the ball game.
Down 4. I'm a little surprised at Rod Delmonico's strategy here. You're 4 runs down, you give up an out to get 2 runners in scoring position. Figure, well, you could pick up 2, but then you still only have 1 more inning to score 2 more, which the Netherlands hasn't done very often. So they could rather see the guys hitter swing the bat, maybe get an extra base hit.
Drops down a bunt and it's rolling foul. That was a good enough bunt that.
Yeah, you only have 6 outs left. You really can't give one up with a sacrifice bunt if you're down 4.
2-2. Engelhart.
Especially with Randall Simon out of the lineup, he's your long ball threat. So you need to take advantage of every at-bat you can.
See what Maldonado comes with. 2-2. High fastball, got him.
Now the strikeout walk ratio for this Netherlands lineup is about 6 or 7 to 1. Mainly because of that. They've just seen more good fastballs than they have seen in their league over in the Netherlands, or maybe even in the minor leagues for many of these hitters.
There's the box score tonight. Remember, they had an opportunity early when DeCasters doubled in the first inning, but Simon was thrown out at the plate. And from then on, the Puerto Rican staff has dominated. Jose Oquendo making a change and a call to the bullpen. He'd like to stop this right here, right now.
Well, he brings in Pedro Feliciano, a lefty. One of the reasons he brings Feliciano in, he's a lefty that also is effective against right-hand hitters. Kingsale being a switch hitter, he'll flip him around to the right side. And Soto and Feliciano talk about their pitching strategy.
Feliciano getting ready. Last year with the Mets.
86 games. And then you see the innings, you know he just comes in for an out here, 2 outs there. Be called on to get a couple more here in this game.
That game up in Toronto going on right now. Here are some of the big bats for the U.S. that are headed to Miami. Adam Dubb, boy, if he plays like that, Ryan Zimmerman will have protection in Washington. Chris Iannetta of the Rockies, Mark DeRosa, Brian McCann, and Kevin Youkilis. Good bullpen. And a lot of momentum, although they've run into Venezuela tonight. Venezuela up 2-1 in that game, now moving to the 6th inning.
Well, if Puerto Rico, I got a little lesson today in Puerto Rico. If they're able to hold on to this lead, they may not, they'd rather see the United States win. If they play the loser, they're probably going to be looking at Jake Peavy.
Well, Venezuela is loaded with bats too. I mean, you don't even see Miguel Cabrera's name on there. Melvin Mora, Jose Lopez of the Mariners, Bobby Abreu, Carlos Guillen. I think you're right. I think frontline starters, the U.S. in better shape than Venezuela.
Jake Peavy would start game 1. I don't know who Venezuela's game 1 starter might be.
Might be a Carlos Silva. Venezuela in the same situation that the Netherlands is in that this is their 4th game, so they've had to use 4 starters, whereas Puerto Rico and the U.S. just their 3rd game. Kingsale takes a strike.
So Feliciano is effective against righties. He has that about 3/4 delivery, but the ball tails down and away from righties. Gets a lot of ground balls on that pitch.
Two and one. Engelhardt, Van Klooster. It's a foul ball. As with any game like last night, you get to the ballpark the next day, you start to hear some of the stories about what happened last night, and there's a great one about Kingsale coming in after the top of the 11th.
And apologizing to his manager because he missed. It was scored in error, but there's been some tough scoring in this series. That was a ball that got in the lights and really should have been scored a hit, but Kingsale apologized said, "I'm sorry, Skip, I lost it in the lights." And Delmonico said, "Here's a former big leaguer, you know, apologizing to me." And then he turned around and got a hit to tie the game.
Struck him out.
Nice sequence. The fastball moving down and away, and then they come back inside and lock him up with a fastball that tailed back across the inside corner. And O'Kendall will go to his bullpen again. Timely hitting and effective relief pitching so far for Puerto Rico.
Feliciano leaves to a nice ovation. And we will step aside with Puerto Rico on top, 4-0 in the 8th in San Juan. It's 4-0 Puerto Rico on top, 2 outs in the 8th. Charlin scoop. Makes a breaking ball. Saul Rivera. Big curveball for a strike.
With Washington last year in 76 games.
Fastball high to the young shortstop. Still looking for his first hit in San Juan. He's 0 for 14. Chops it out towards short. Aviles has had a nice week in the field, and he steps on the bag. Inning over, going to the bottom of the 8th. Puerto Rico on top. Puerto Rico trying to add to their lead. The bottom of the 8th, up 4-0. Everybody here headed to Miami. Brian Engelhart will be there. He's in left field now. After delivering a pinch hit, Iran Boca Chica gets his first AB.
Playing for Team Puerto Rico, Boca Chica's most famous hit was over in Japan. Hit a home run, win the championship.
There have been players from all different countries that have gone to play in the leagues over in Japan. Alfonso Soriano, before he became a big leaguer, played over in Japan. One of the greatest American players ever to go over, as you see that bullpen working and play in Japan. Phillies manager Charlie Manuel, who was an outstanding player, great hitter. His nickname was the Red Devil over there in Japan.
Charlie, a great minor league hitter in the Minnesota Twins organization.
High pop up. And DeJong had no chance. And it's tough for a catcher because essentially you lose sight of the ball when you spin around and take the mask off. Then you got to find it again, and he never found it.
Yeah, and the ball always comes back to you with that spin, and then you add the wind to it, and you overran the ball right from the start. There's the flags we've been talking about that have blown the entire classic from the left field corner toward the right field corner.
Slow roller to third. DeCastro on the run. Safe.
Played well by DeCastro. Can't quite get it out of the glove quickly enough. And Boca Chica hustling right out of the batter's box. He smells that base hit. That's the way to go down the line. Hustles from the first step and gets rewarded with a base hit.
Alex Cora will hit now. Boca Chica's at first. It's a 4-0 game, but it feels like a 10-0 game. The way this Netherlands team has swung the bat in this classic. Which makes what they've accomplished even more astounding.
It really does when you add up, when this is all over, and you add up the statistics for Rod Delmonico's team, you're going to say, how did they win 2 games?
Boca Chica.
Stolen on the pitcher. Pitcher never gave him a look. Stole that easily. If this holds up, they will have watch the jump. I mean, Van Kampen never gave him a look. He doesn't even have to slide. Steals it easily. They've scored 6 runs in 4 games and won 2 of them. They have allowed more than 2 base runners per inning. A lot of walks, a lot of hits allowed.
Cora slices that to left, and that's going to score Boca Chica. It's 5-0.
Ideal baseball for Jose Aquindo. Get a lead early and just keep putting the ball in play, using the whole field. Timely hits. They didn't get them in the first couple innings. They left a lot of men on, but eventually Boca Chica lost his footing coming into home plate.
There's no place to hide.
Yeah, he'll get a little ribbing from his teammates.
Chopper towards short. Scope got one. Dersma no chance. So these two teams are headed to the second round, headed to Miami. Puerto Rico blasted Panama and then beat the Netherlands by a score of 3-1. And the Netherlands, of course, stunned the world with the first win, nearly beat Puerto Rico, and then of course last night an epic game in 11 innings, coming from behind to beat the Dominican Republic twice. Bernie Williams. Pops him up.
He gets a second chance. Oh, he goes. He learned from the first one.
It's going to bring Soto up.
See, he threw the mask off. Yeah, even that one, it'll keep drifting back toward the field of play.
Chopper to third. DeCaster, the short way to second. In time, inning over. Another run on the board. 3 more outs to get. Then it's on to Miami. Puerto Rico up 5-0. Not quite a look of relief on the face of Jose Oquendo, but certainly he saw last night, saw what happened to the Dominican Republic. Puerto Rico bringing out another quality arm out of their bullpen, Fernando Cabrera.
Last year with the Orioles, 22 games. High walk total, but again, more than a strikeout an inning. That's been the theme here in the Classic with teams, particularly Puerto Rico, and even though they're eliminated, the Dominican Republic, power arms that strike out more than 1 an inning. Vasquez goes over to first base. Cora at third.
Cora's brother Joey, of course, also a big league player. And many feel will be a manager soon in the big leagues. Adriana takes a strike. Adriana, DeCaster, and Roy. Out towards short. And Aviles throws out Adriano. 1 out here in the 9th. Here's an interesting twist, Jim. Venezuela's on top 4-1. If Venezuela wins that game, they would be the 1 seed, and Puerto Rico would face the USA in the first round in Miami.
And they'd probably have the tougher challenge.
Yes.
Puerto Rico would playing USA again would be because of the arm of Jake Peavy. That's what makes the game of baseball different than most other sports, when you begin to match up teams. Football, basketball, got the same quarterback, run the same. You can sort of predict, or you can plan, match them up. But in pitching, or in baseball, it's all who is tomorrow's starting pitcher. So even though USA might lose and be a 2 seed, they're going to come with an ace pitcher.
DeCaster goes down.
Well, it's been a nice run for the Netherlands. Mentioned as DeCaster looks at a good sharp breaking ball. When you add up the stats, they haven't scored many runs, only 6. They've given up a lot of base runners, and now the home team fans get a chance to come to their feet, sensing that their team is going to go 3-0 and be the champions of Pool D.
And they'll try to do something that they were not able to do in 2006, and that's advance out of the second round. They were eliminated by Cuba. Delmonico's team is going to be right back where they were when this started. They will be decided underdogs. But you know what? They play that role so well. That's all part of the charm. Ball game. A sweep of the Netherlands, a sweep through Pool D. But the Netherlands made their statement last night. They, along with Puerto Rico, will head to Miami tomorrow and get ready for Saturday and round 2 of the World Baseball Classic.
Well deserved. They pitched well. They hit well. They played well in the field. They only gave up 1 run in 3 games.
We will return to San Juan. Puerto Rico shutout, a 5-0 win.